So when we talk about a targeted phishing campaign, what does that look like, right? And what does that even mean? And Daniel, give me some real world examples because after all, um, a fish is a fish, right? And remember, to be clear, what we're talking about here is bad actors try and target a set of users, and they're going to try and get them to provide credentials so they can get access to, information about the company, or maybe they want access to a sensitive type of system, and they want to be able to log in, either grab money or, blackmail the company. A lot of companies today are being targeted just based on that. So let me tell you a little bit of how um, bad actors target a company, because you and I have information out on the web. And as much as many friends as we have, and as much as we think we know what's really out there about us, there's usually a lot more and a lot of surprises. So let me tell you. So let's go through that. So I don't have my bad actor hat because I don't have a bad actor hat. uh, so I don't have a bad actor hat. So let's just kind of pretend that I'm a bad actor, right? I am someone who wants to gain information. I want someone to provide me their access, let's say, to their email, so I can download information about the company and maybe use it to my advantage in the future. And I'm going to make the assumption that I know nothing about this company at all, but I want to target that company, hence a targeted phishing attack. Now, I don't know, let's assume I know nothing about networks. I don't know anything about their technology environment. So I'm not going to hack or crack anything, right? I'm not going to try and break encryption and read emails. I'm not going to try and log in via one of their systems and pretend that I'm someone that I'm not. Nope. All I'm going to do is I want to see if I can target a company and get them to provide me credentials. And I know nothing about them. I know nothing about their infrastructure, and I know nothing about anyone that works there. And we'll make it even more distant, like really throw the ball out there. Let's assume this company, so I'm in the US, let's assume this company is in Asia, right? Kind of the other side of the world, depending on which side of the map you're looking at. So my point is, I know nothing about this company at all. I know nothing about what they're doing, but hey, I want to target them. This is how bad actors start, right? With a blank slate. So the first thing they're going to do is, well, a couple things they could do. They could look at if they have a specialty, if they have knowledge about invoices or finance, they might target a finance company. They might target a large company or a small company, depending on what their capabilities are. But generally, what they're going to do is they're going to look for companies that they know have money. Okay, well, what does that mean, right? How do you know a company has money? Hello, NASDAQ, S&P 500, go to the stocks. Simple as that. You can look up any company, right? That's publicly traded. So the first thing they might do is look for a company that's publicly traded. Easy enough, right? You can even go to Google, look up stocks for companies. You'll find out what their net worth is there. And if they're crafty to some degree, they're going to look at the financial statements and they're going to go, ooh, man, look at this company, right? They've got $2 billion they're sitting on cash with. That's huge. Or hey, look at Apple. They've got like $500 billion that they're just sitting on cash, right? So now you know how much a company's worth. You know how much cash they have in hand. Okay, that might be pretty good, but that doesn't help as a bad actor. That doesn't really help me, right? Now I know they have money, but you can bet large enterprise companies that are multi-billion-dollar companies have their own security team, and they're going to be very vigilant. They're going to have a ton of tools at their disposal to really prevent this from occurring. So you're probably not going to target big companies like Apple, Google, and Microsoft unless you're either have unless you have a lot of funding, and that's usually governmental funding. We won't go there at all because I don't want to block this channel in some countries. But as a single person, I would say, geez, they're probably huge, right? And they're going to have a lot of systems to protect their systems. So I still want to find a company, but I want to find one that has some money. So they're going to start looking for companies that maybe are publicly traded, but are maybe under the $500 mark, right? They're going to say, let me find a company that doesn't have as much money, and maybe they're a small outfit. And there you go. That's typically what happens is you're going to have these folks, and they're going to target these small companies that have cash on hand, 50 million, 100 million, 300 million, but they're, the entire capital worth of their company isn't going to be 3 billion. Maybe it is only 700 million, or maybe they're even a smaller company, small startup, and they're 200 million or 150 million, whatever. But the key thing is finding a company that probably doesn't have a security team but has the money. And that's where some of these bad actors go to. And now they've got a laundry list of companies that's all provided on the web. And the next thing they're going to do is, as again, if I was a bad actor, I would be looking for companies whose subject I'm potentially familiar with, so I can speak to it to some degree, right? So if I know a lot about um, marketing, and I see a company that does marketing, I may target them. If I know, maybe a lot about technology, that opens up scope. It could be just about anyone. And again, they don't need to do this, but a good company may very well, in fact, want to, as a bad actor, you want to target a company that maybe you know a little bit about internally before you do any other research. So let's say we pick a company that works with the automotive field because I'm in Detroit and everything's automotive. So perfect. Um, Now, let's say I pick a couple companies. I'm familiar with the automotive field, and the entire state of Michigan, like 60% of the funds, right, of the entire per capita of the state comes from automotive, if not more. So the next thing that I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start looking up companies' information, and where better to go but LinkedIn? Ta-da! So now they're going to find a couple companies and they're going to start looking at LinkedIn. They're going to do a couple of things. Okay, now as a bad actor, first thing I'd look is I want to find companies that have a ton of information out there. If you go to LinkedIn, you can find out not just who's in the C-suite, but you can find out sometimes LinkedIn's hierarchy, right, between CEO, right, CFO, legal, HR, all of these, right, CIO, CTO, whatever, all of that sometimes is more detailed than the companies that they're targeting, right? They literally have a hierarchy more clear than the companies themselves, because LinkedIn already has that mature structure. And what they're going to do is, let's say I've got two companies that I'm looking through, and I got one company that they're providing, okay, here's some people, but I don't know who everyone else is, right? Nobody is saying I work at that company. Then their digital exposure isn't that much. But hey, on this side, now I can see a company that shows me who not only who's in the C-suite, but who works in the treasury, and who works in accounting, and who works in finance, or maybe someone who worked in finance, right? And you can go to LinkedIn and find out literally the hierarchy from the top as it cascades down, every person that works there. Because we on LinkedIn go, and I put my profile, and I put who I work with, and I put information like what I do there, and the subject, and who my friends are, and who my bosses, and who my colleagues are. And boy, did I just give a complete digital printout trail for a bad actor to follow. Everyone does that to some degree. And that's exactly how bad actors target companies. We've just given the blueprint of the company. So as a bad actor, I want to target someone in automotive. Easy enough. I want to make sure they have money. Easy enough. I look at their financial statements. I want to make sure I want to target a company that maybe doesn't have a lot of security. Keep the number low, right? Higher probability. And now that I know the company, now maybe I want to learn more about them. So what do? I look at the people's profile. And everyone's very proud of what they do at a company to some degree, right? I hope. So they're going to say something like, you know, uh, reduced, 12% debt payout to this company, right? Decreased, X, Y, and Z by this amount, right? Yeah, balanced $5 million contract. Um, increased pay. It could be something with funding. It could be with systems. I'm just giving you examples that as a person, um, you're very proud of what you do, and you're going to put that on your LinkedIn profile. And the bad actors are going to be really happy to read that, because what they're going to do is they're going to start looking for who works in these departments, and they could gain some familiarity. Oh, I see there. So Joe, reports to the CFO, who typically is a common target, and Joe's a treasurer. Oh, I see. Interesting. Joe just mentioned that they do work with, let's say with Ford and GM, because he said here that he helped negotiate those contracts. Interesting. So now I know a lot about Joe. Let's find out who Joe's friends are and who his colleagues are. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, interesting. So then what they're going to do, if they're crafty, is I would go next to Facebook. I would look up Joe. I would look up his friends, right? Especially if I know that they're colleagues. So there's Joe and then there's Sarah. And they both work in the same field and at the same company. And now I go to Facebook and Sarah says that next week she's going to be off, a whole week off. But she didn't say that on LinkedIn. She said that on Facebook. But it's accessible anywhere, right? Sarah's going to be off for a week. Joe's working, probably going to be tired. He's probably going to have to balance a couple things with Joe. And that is how you have a targeted phishing attack. That is the premise of it. So what typically happens is the bad actor could do a couple things. If this company is called, let's say this company is called, I'll try and give it a real name. Let's say Lethargy. I don't know why. Let's just say the company's called Lethargy. What they could very well do is set up a fake website called Lethargy. They could, and then when you have a website, you can set up email and Office 365 to make it look like they're logging into Lethargy, but they're not. And then the person could send phishing links, and they could say, so they might wait until Sarah's on vacation, maybe not the first day or the second day, but how about the fourth or fifth day, right? When Joe, who's supporting all this stuff, is probably helping support things for Sarah, but doesn't know everything that she did. And all of a sudden, he gets a little message. Boop. Hey, Joe. My vacation is going really well. Absolutely enjoying it. I wish you were here. The sun's amazing. I forgot to download this file for our CFO, Matt. Matt, that's his first name, same as his last name. Who cares? Could you please send me that file, please? And then she sends a link. Joe saying, well, yeah, Sarah's on vacation. Matt is our CFO. He, sure, I better do it because it's urgent. CFO needs what they need. So Joe clicks on the link. And the link comes up and it says, enter your username and password. And it looks exactly the same as all the hundreds of times he's logged into Office 365. Because let's say they don't have any other protection but username and password, right? Small company, they may not have MFA involved. So what do? Joe provides his username and password. Interesting. It didn't take me anywhere. It didn't show me the document that Sarah said she needed. So Joe will respond to Sarah and say, right, goes back to his email and says, hey, Sarah, what in the world did you send me? There's nothing here. Joe doesn't know he's just been phished and doesn't know he just provided his credentials. So, but that's not the end of it. That's just the beginning. Because the bad actor now just received all of Joe's information. So now he's logging into the bad actors, his real data, and starts pulling that off. Except since he logged in as Joe, and now Joe sent an email to Sarah, said, you didn't send me anything. So let's say that Sarah has her work email, right? And let's say Joe sends it to Sarah at 3 p.m. Hey, Sarah, whatever you sent me, I didn't get a single message. Sends it off to Sarah. Sarah at 3:05 opens up her email to see if she's missed anything, but doesn't see the email. And you go, wait a minute, but Joe just sent it. Why would Sarah not receive it? Because the bad actors are crafty. They don't want you to talk to anyone. So while you provided your credentials, they logged into the person's account, in this case Joe, and they created rules that said, don't send anything, or pull the email from that person's inbox. Pretty great, right? And not only is the bad actors going to do that, they're going to create rules that say, they could create rules that say, if the security company sends me an email on that includes the following words, mark it as read, move it from the inbox to the delete box, and immediately delete. So let's say that the next thing the bad actors does, because now they're in Joe's inbox, and now they've stopped emails from being sent out to Sarah. So here's what's going to happen. At 3:05, Sarah doesn't see the email from Joe saying, "Did you send me this document?" No, 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 no. She now sees an email from the bad actor, but she doesn't know that. It's an email from Joe. And she opens up the email, and guess what that says? It says something to the effect of, "Hey, Sarah, I hope you're enjoying your time. It's been pretty busy here at work. Matt, by the way, Matt, by the way, right, our CFO just asked if you could provide this document. Let me share this with you because it's probably not going to work. Right, it's probably not going to work since you're on a trip and you don't have the company stuff, right? The company computer, let's say, right? So you're kind of alluding that she's probably going to have some difficulty logging in, or that something may be different, right? So you've given her the idea that something will be different, and then when she expects it, because you've kind of planted that seed, she's not going to think anything different. Okay, well, yeah, he just said it was going to happen, and here enough it happened. But the email did come from Joe. So she, of course, is going to trust it. I know who Joe is. I know he's at work. He knows I'm on vacation. There's nothing there that seems odd. So Sarah is on vacation. She's tanning. Like, come on, seriously? All right, let me provide my credentials. Here's my username. Here's my password. Submit. Hey, Joe, I didn't get that email. But anyway, here's the information, and sends it off. Well, guess what? The bad actor is going to prevent Joe from receiving any email, right? We just said they're going to create rules that say, hey, if you get email from Sarah, go ahead and mark it as read and just delete it. Don't even bother seeing it. Joe never sees the email from Sarah, and now the bad actors have access to Sarah's account. Sarah never receives an email from Joe. And you literally now have the bad actors who have access to people inside the company that deal with finances and now are controlling their inboxes. So they're not just taking data, but now they're controlling information. They're communicating on behalf of trusted people. And that's part of the game. So now the bad actors could do a couple things. They're going to look at Joe's information and they're going to say, oh, there was a PO for ABC company, right? Or an invoice. Oh, yep, here's an invoice. Oh, and here's the banking information. Sarah's in charge of that. So the bad actors will take that email, they'll change banking information on it. I'm going to send it to Sarah. Hey, Sarah, would you approve this? The company had to change the banking information again, and as a result, there's been an issue. Sarah looks at it. She's one of the approvers. She goes, yeah, that's fine. It is what it is. You know, these people are always jumping around like it's the stock market. Hit submit, send. And now what happens is that invoice gets processed and paid out to the wrong bad actor. That happens a lot, what I just described. Now, maybe some people don't do as much research as I would if I was a bad actor, but you can believe me, what I just described, it's not fictitious. It's happened before, many, many times. There are many people who have their inbox emails compromised, and guess what? They probably don't know. Because remember, Sarah comes back from work a week later. The only way they're going to know is probably if they talk in person, right? Or if they use maybe a different application. They go, oh yeah, by the way, I transferred that document. You know, they're always changing bank. That's at the same time that Joe might go, Sarah, what the hell are you talking about? We never changed anything. I didn't send you. And that's usually how people find out that they've been phished, if they're that vigilant and they care. Um, but during that entire time, these bad actors are downloading information. And believe me, they won't stop at Joe and Sarah. They'll go to the CFO next, right? They'll send an email, right? This time it comes from Sarah, right? Maybe the bad actors had seen, oh man, you know, Sarah and the CFO talk a lot. They're both, you know, they both know each other because maybe they go to, you know, the same meetings a lot. So Sarah sends an email to the CFO, right? This could be while she's gone. Says, hey, Matt, first name, last name the same. I don't know why. Hey, Matt, hope you're doing well. Vacation's going well. By the way, I was thinking, I think the banking information for this account wrong. I just looked in the database. We use SAP, so maybe they know it. They research it. Can you please update this? CFO is a little suspicious why Sarah would care about it. She's on vacation, but you know, he trusts Sarah, but he's still suspicious. So guess what he does? He sends an email not just to Sarah, but to Joe. Hey, Joe, Sarah asked me to change his banking information. Are we okay with this? And the bad actor, who has full control of Joe's account, responds, yes, CFO, we are absolutely clear. This is something that they've done. I think I mentioned it to Sarah. Let me know if you need more information. Here's the new banking information. Bad actors information. CFO receives it. CFO approves it. Someone makes the changes. Now you have more money out the company. Or worse, depending on what happens, gets an email from Joe or gets an email from Sarah. Hey, log into here. They log in, credentials get compromised, CFO doesn't know. Now you have 3 accounts from 3 important people who've been targeted because of public information, all available that you put out there. And now I would ask a very simple question. For my example, that's not far reached, it's happened. And my question is, who controls the company? It's a very good question, right? You could say, well, what does it mean by control? Well, I mean, who controls the finances? Who's taking money out of the company? Now you've got multiple chiefs. You've got a CFO who's never been hired the first day, and they're making financial decisions for the company. And if it's a publicly traded company, this could make or break them in a moment. Maybe that company's planning on M&A activity, or maybe they're planning on downsizing. And guess what? That information is going to be in their inbox, right? And when they find it, someone could use it to their advantage. Maybe they won't do anything. Maybe they log out and never log in again, buy stocks in this company. Maybe they find out that, the company's going huge bust bankrupt because they're talking. Or maybe the bad actors don't really care so much about what's about to happen. Maybe all they care about the money. So the next thing they're going to do, they're going to go straight for the CEO. And let's say that CEO's name is Linda. Well, we have 2 names. So let's say CFO on behalf, right, our bad actor CFO, um, will target the CEO. And now the CEO could potentially be phished. This happens because we trust the people we interact with every day. We've developed these relationships, and they're being leveraged against the good people, the good actors. The bad actors are using that personality, the persona that we've helped set up, especially in a corporate environment. There's a huge level of trust. And especially when these bad actors start responding back and forth in people's inboxes, it gets pretty crazy. And I've absolutely seen that. That's not far-fetched. Bad actors have responded pretending that they're someone else. And it can ruin a company's reputation, not just the individual. That's why it's so important that companies look at other security measures like MFA, which is not the panacea. It's one step in the right direction. It certainly isn't going to solve everything at all, but it will help. Um, so that's what I've seen time and time again what bad actors do. They grab publicly available information, whether from the stock, whether online, whether they go to the company's website, right, and read who's in charge. They got their names there, right? Here's who our board of directors are. Here's who our C-suite is. Here's these people that won this award this week for a great design that we never thought of. All that information is available on the web, and all that information can potentially be used against a person, against a company, and can absolutely break a company. Bad actors can try and say, hey, download sensitive information. And they might be so bold, again, there's no morals in this game. They might be so bold as to blackmail, right? They could come out straight and say, they could mail a letter to the CEO, to the CFO, and to and to John and Sarah, and they could say, hey guys, I'm a bad actor. Hello. Go ahead and wire me $50 million or $10,000, or I will expose this email. And it could be an email that is sensitive to the company, that's strategic to the company, right? Wire me some Bitcoins, which at this point are just basically anonymous, right? So you don't even have to worry about banks and canceling and transactions and government, right? They're on the other side of the world potentially. Um, Wire me Bitcoins. Good luck trying to figure out who's going to withdraw that. Very difficult. We don't have the infrastructure set up today to really identify who's going to do what. Um, So that's the beauty of cloud computing. It's come a long ways, for us to take things off premise and it's in the cloud and we can access everything anywhere. But now the bad actors can do that too. They can access our information from anywhere if we're not fully aware. And many of us, including myself, are not fully aware of what's on the web for me. So anyway, I thought it'd be kind of fun to, go through how bad actors think, how they leverage your personal information, how they leverage the new information once they've compromised an account, how they use common applications like Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, if it still exists, right? How they're using TikTok and all these applications when you're saying, hello, I'm leaving, how they use that against the person or how they use to make themselves sound more credible when they make a request. And how they use that sense of trust as humans we have developed against us to further their goals, to further their objective. So anyway, have a great day. Just watch out for emails. If you're really not sure, there's a lot of ways that you can work to maybe validate and verify before you accept and move forward, but that'll be on a different video. Have a great one. Thanks. Bye-bye.